The SEC just changed the rules forever. Exchanges can now fast track listings for spot crypto ETFs, cutting months off the process and clearing a new path for new funds, including XRP. This is the kind of switch that lets big money move without waiting on one-off approvals that typically take forever, get everyone in the crypto market excited, and then it turns out to be a nothing burger as things become more and more delayed. Now, this is happening while the White House just posted a statement after the stock market hit a record high. And this image was shared directly through the White House X account, talking about that S&P 500 new all-time high just off the back of lowering interest rates by only 25 basis points. It looks like the market's getting ready to rally for new all-time highs across the board. Now, the timeline is tight. After this vote, products can start rolling out as soon as October. That means managers, market makers, and allocators are lining up the pieces right now, getting ready to dump their capital into crypto markets in a regulated manner, which I'll show you what to watch out for in these first filings as they hit the runway. While at the same time, Ripple, DBS, and Franklin Templeton just agreed to bring trading and lending to institutions using tokenized money market funds and the RLUSD stablecoin, with listing on DBS Digital Exchange, which plans to let those tokens work as collateral. We have it, folks. These are real rails for real investors landing the same week as the ETF door opens and as we hit new all-time highs in the market. Now, I get it. We've heard news like this all the time, right? There's a new partnership, there's an ETF, but at the end of the day, this is actually happening. And although we might not see the effects right now, the stock market hitting a new all-time high is going to provide a lot of room for the crypto market to follow. And when you have a partnership with someone as big as Franklin Templeton, with over 75 years in the business and $1.6 trillion in AUM, this is going to solidify Ripple's business model, and a lot of that value is going to find its way into the XRP token. So stick around till the end, because I'm going to break down how the SEC move changes access, what this whole partnership between Ripple, DBS, and Franklin unlocks, and the early signals that you need to watch out for that are going to tell us when these institutional bids are actually going to hit XRP and what prices and pivot points to look out for, alongside some other on-chain metrics. Now, before we dive into all of this, if you are a crypto investor or you're sitting on a lot of XRP and you don't want to sell your XRP, but you want access to more capital by borrowing against it, check this video out.
Have you built a crypto portfolio over $1 million but want to access your wealth without selling any of your coins? Well, imagine unlocking up to 85% of your portfolio's value to fund ventures like real estate, to buy other projects in the crypto space that are undervalued compared to the projects that you currently hold, or to diversify into different DeFi yield opportunities. That way you can live on the interest without selling any of your crypto. Well, we've partnered with a leading global office offering non-recourse crypto loans for investors with portfolios starting at $1 million. The same company that is trusted by the world's largest institutions and investors, because as you already know, the billionaires don't sell their crypto, they borrow against it. So if you're ready to unlock up to 85% of your portfolio's value without selling any of your coins, and you have a portfolio with at least $1 million, then email us at team@bullrunners.com. You're going to see our email contact in the description below, and we'll get you connected with the company that has helped clients like ours north of $100 million borrow against their crypto without selling any of it. So reach out to start a conversation with our team right now at team@bullrunners.com, and we'll talk to you soon.
And as always, my friend, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PaulieDeFi, PaulieDeFi. This is probably the biggest news that we have for the day surrounding XRP, and just the fact that, yes, the S&P 500 just pumped hard for a new all-time high, seeing highs off of that support and low at the 20 EMA, and then seeing the pre-market rally really strongly into the next 4-hour period. So that said, it looks like this rate cut from the Fed was taken very positively by markets, and I don't believe that markets are going to start to sell off anytime soon, at least not through into the end of the year, as more rate cuts are expected. Because at the end of the day, we're expecting 2 rate cuts, probably another 25 basis points each. And even if one were to occur and we remain flat for one of those periods, when markets are at all-time highs, greed can continue to keep the market rallying and at levels you would not expect previously. Now that said, when the S&P 500 is doing well, we see that that carries over into the crypto market. So if I look at Bitcoin right now, rallying really hard off those lows at 114, currently sitting at 117.4. Now, obviously we're not back into prior all-time high territory, but we had our prior high right here at 116.9, and we're being supported there as we speak above that 10 and 20 EMA. So when Bitcoin is in a good range, guess what that means for the entire crypto market? They all have room to grow. And you don't have to use a chart to find this out. You could go to CoinMarketCap right now, and you'll see that the majority of cryptos on the day are up. Matter of fact, even over the last 7 days, the majority of cryptos are up. But whenever you see the majority of this look green right here, that's likely because the whole market, the global market surrounding the stock market and crypto, are seeing asset managers continue to allocate capital because they believe prices are going to be higher a week from now, a month from now, a few months from now than they are right now. Now, we're going to cover what this means. The fact that DBS and Franklin Templeton partner with Ripple to launch trading and lending solutions powered by tokenized money market funds, and Ripple's very own, very regulated, backed one by one by cash or cash equivalents, RLUSD stablecoin, which is currently sitting at a new all-time high market cap as more money flows are going into it, and it will likely continue to grow with a partnership of this size. As I recently mentioned, we have $1.6 trillion of assets under management with Franklin Templeton. Now, obviously, not all of that is going to flow through RLUSD or through the XRP blockchain, but at the end of the day, any amount is really good, and this will prove that they are able to handle the type of scale and, more importantly, compliance for many of these major asset managers who have to do everything by the books, much of which many other stable coins are not currently set to do. We do have USDC, but there have been a lot of issues surrounding transparency on something like Tether. Now, Ripple itself on X recently made this announcement, which we will cover in that article, but even the president of Ripple, Monica Long, shared, in order for tokenized financial assets to solve the problems they've been promised to solve, we need both 1, liquid secondary markets, and 2, utility for these assets, such as with collateralization. That's exactly what this partnership is working towards through this announcement. And here we have the article directly from Ripple with some of the key players between this partnership. Now, this partnership, formalized with the signing of a memorandum of understanding, brings together the unique strengths of one of Asia's largest financial institutions, a global investment manager, and the leader in enterprise blockchain and cryptocurrency solutions. Now, 87% of institutional investors expect to make investments into digital assets in 2025, and this is only going to rapidly speed up that process. With this setup, eligible DBS clients can trade RLUSD for SG Benji tokens, enabling them to rebalance their portfolios into a relatively stable asset 24/7 and within minutes, while earning yield during periods of volatility. So think about what blockchain and the technology from Ripple is enabling for all sorts of major institutional applications. To strengthen the tokenization ecosystem, Franklin Templeton will tokenize these SG Benji tokens on the XRPL, a public and enterprise-grade blockchain. Adding the XRP ledger to Franklin Templeton's existing lineup of blockchains strengthens interoperability across networks, enabling greater accessibility across different chains and participants in the blockchain ecosystem. Now, we already know this, but the XRP ledger was chosen for speed, efficiency, low transaction transaction costs, and anytime that any of these transactions happen at an institutional scale on the XRP ledger, this is going to drive demand for the XRP token because they have to buy it in order to pay the fees on all of these transactions. Now, arguably one of the biggest pieces of news that I don't really think the market has felt the true effect of yet, but will definitely make waves and provide a new route for new all-time highs, is the fact that the SEC is essentially streamlining the process for crypto spot ETFs, making it extremely simple and far more time effective. That said, the Securities and Exchange Commission voted on Wednesday to approve proposed rule changes for 3 national securities exchanges, enabling them to adopt generic listing standards for new cryptocurrency and other spot commodity exchange traded products. Until now, the SEC has handled every spot crypto ETF filing on a case-by-case basis, and you can imagine how slow government is when doing anything, much more when in the past they were very hostile towards crypto. They just put it on the back burner and required 2 separate filings, one from the exchange that plans to list the product and one from the asset manager to receive approval from different divisions. Imagine it's like a long drawn out court process where they continue to appeal. We've been through this whole ringer with the Ripple SEC lawsuit. Well, that changes now, as the new process will cut the maximum time from filing to launch to 75 days from longer than 240 days or more. And these ETF issuers will approach exchanges. So anyone that wants to list an ETF with crypto will approach an exchange like the NASDAQ, the NYSE, or the SIBO with a product idea and a desire to list that ETF. If the proposed strategy, token, or combination of tokens of the issuers meets the generic listing standard, which has now been provided by the SEC, in other words, clarity, then the exchange can proceed with listing the ETF and not have to worry about any regulatory actions from the SEC. Now, SEC Chairman Paul Atkins said this: by approaching these generic listing standards, we are ensuring that our capital markets remain the best place in the world to engage in cutting-edge innovation of digital assets. This is arguably the most exciting news that I've covered in quite some time, because this is truly going to open up the door for many crypto ETFs, which is ultimately going to bring in far more capital and probably add trillions upon trillions of dollars into the crypto markets through the next couple of years. But even by the end of the year, we're going to see all of these spot ETFs entering the market. Many of them will be for XRP, and that news alone is going to pump the price, much less the fact that a lot of money is actually going to be flowing into XRP. And because these are spot ETFs, custodial companies and services are actually going to have to buy XRP 1-for-1 and sit on it, which means it's no longer available for sale unless I sell my ETF. And this explains why XRP has been trading pretty hard off these lows of 270 up to a new local high of about 319. Even off the lows of $3, we're back up to 308 and consistently seeing a new strong uptrend with support above our prior range resistance coming in at about 307. You can see that what used to be a resistance is now looking to be a support. To further add to the excitement and momentum, Bitcoin available on exchanges is reaching a new all-time low. We're not even at a prior all-time high range yet. Bitcoin sitting at 117,000. And as you can see, since that local high all the way through the range bottom, and now we're pumping back up to new highs for the range, this purple line is consistently declining, which means more and more Bitcoin is being bought up by institutional investors, by ETF issuers, and even just retail investors, and being ripped off exchange because they believe the price is going to be higher. So this right here is extremely positive for the price of Bitcoin and for the entire crypto market. Now moving over to XRP. So I'm going to head over to CoinGlass. I'm going to go to liquidations and then liquidation map, and you should see a page that looks similar to this. I'm going to scroll down past those actual liquidations right there and focus on an exchange liquidation map. So first I'll go to Bitcoin and I'll go to a 7-day time frame, and I'll refresh it just to be safe. I'll remove the liquidation levels or key levels for Binance, OKX, and Bybit and just focus on the aggregate amount. So over on the left hand side, if we see a bigger cliff, if you will. It's actually higher. In terms of the long leverage or liquidation levels, then this means that more people are long with more capital. On the flip side, if you see something like this, we see $6.4 billion of shorts or people that are selling the market will be liquidated if Bitcoin hits $129,000. On the flip side, if Bitcoin hits $104,800, then $9.7 billion will be liquidated. In other words, we have another 1/3 of total capital on the long side, and I like to bet with that trend. I like to bet with the strength. So if the trend is also up on a crypto, that's a very positive sign. Now, again, looking at Bitcoin to kind of get a key or a 30,000 foot view of the crypto market before I move on to something like XRP. Then I come to Binance, OKX, Bybit, get rid of all those. Do we have more long liquidation leverage on the left than we do on the right? And you can see they're pretty even, but more people are long right now to the tune of another $50 million. So I think Bitcoin is probably going to rally a little bit harder first, and then the rest of the crypto market could follow. But with XRP sitting at this key level of 308, being supported above the prior range highs, putting in a new local high, I expect us to hit our next range resistance of 338, probably sometime in this upcoming week, maybe 2 weeks max. And when we break above 366, it is truly thin air and smooth sailing there, because there will be no overhead resistance, and that's really when FOMO kicks in. People that were looking at it at this price range are uncertain. Maybe they just aren't pulling the trigger. Maybe they're not accumulating. They're not watching it too closely. But then they get a notification from their Coinbase account, right? Or their crypto.com account. Or they just see the news that XRP hit a new all-time high, and they're like, uh-oh, I need to get in. And everyone starts buying like crazy, and the market can rally far longer and far stronger than you would ever expect. Still, at the end of the day, I think our next psychological resistance will be $5, and I could totally see XRP hitting that range at bare minimum with this spot ETF approval here in the near future, especially as the SEC has streamlined this process now. So again, all dips are for buying. I'm currently accumulating, and that's not financial advice. Do with your portfolio as you will, but as the chart is showing me this, I'm getting quite excited. And that is it for the video, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to be up to date on everything XRP and the crypto markets. That said, I always make this pitch at some point in time, but we would love for you to join Altcoin Pro University. You can just go to altcoinpro.com to check out everything we offer on the other side. You have nothing to lose by simply checking it out, getting started. You have a 14-day refund period. If it ain't for you, it ain't for you. But this is your one-stop shop to help you become a crypto millionaire. We are the best educational platform on the planet. We share all sorts of alpha, not just through our community, but through our pros and experts, whether it's altcoin picks, learning how to do technical analysis, courses, live calls, you name it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.